Good morning, good afternoon, and of course, good evening. We're going to talk about Uncanny X-Men today. And you're thinking, well, you've already discussed this twice now. What further could there be left to say about Jack Danger's latest game? Well, it's funny you asked that question because last night, as we record this, there was the sort of not the unveiling, but the first chance that people got to see some gameplay action. So Mr. Danger and his team, they went live on Stern's YouTube channel, and I'm sure multiple other platforms to give a deep dive into the game. I think they were playing some 4-player games and a lot going on, and I think, like many people, that you tuned in and looked at some of the reactions. I'm not a great one for watching streams, truth be known. And I think a lot of that is probably to do with my eyesight. As you probably know, I have several pairs of glasses, and it's very, very hard to watch the boxed sections on screens. But I'm always interested in what other people think of streams. And it's fair to say, Enzo, that it's caused a little bit of controversy, mate.
Yeah, I'm really surprised by this. I'm not one to. I know we've got like negativity and stuff in this hobby, where people are unhappy with something, whatever. But I was directed to Pinside. I don't really go on Pinside unless I'm buying something I need specifically. I never go on to read people's opinions or comments. But the fact that there was so much like negativity and hate towards this stream and the gameplay that was showed. People not liking the animations, the music. They were calling it a drain monster. Starting from basic code, I mean, we can touch on that quickly. We know these games don't come out, even though we spend 10 to 15 grand on these games. It takes 6 to 12 months to get good code. I mean, Bond was not a good game for 12 months, right? So it's naive to think this code was going to be ready. And even George Gomez was saying recently, or today actually, that they did rush this game a little bit because one of the other games was shelved by Borg. And I don't know exactly what game that was.
So we're talking about John Borg had created a title and it got shelved.
Yeah. Okay. And this got pushed through, right? So they've admitted that it was a little rushed. Now, I've worked in the industry where we do product launches, right? And everyone's booked media, photography, newspapers, social media platforms, and we're not ready. And it comes to the crunch and we've got problems, but we can't cancel it, right? You just got to do the best you can. And this is probably maybe what could have happened with these guys. They know the game's not ready, but we've seen games that aren't ready before. But I think because we put this game on a pedestal 2 weeks ago, right? And we put a lot of pressure on Danger because, we said, oh, he's the new, the Marvel Jesus, that, I think they were nervous. I think you could see on camera they were struggling to probably gel together a little bit. That could be my only criticism of the team, the 4 guys communicating, and it was a little bit awkward at times. But it was 4:00 in the afternoon there. They'd probably been there since early morning getting ready. It probably took Danger 20 minutes just to get into that Cyclops costume made out of latex.
One of the guys, he must have no wonder it was draining. He had a hood. He had a pillowcase over his head. Yeah. He couldn't see. You talk about him not gelling. He probably wasn't even sure who he was in a room with because he couldn't see anyone.
He didn't even know which game he was playing.
I'm Wolverine, or is it 3? So anyway, whatever.
Yeah. So, like seeing all that really started to piss me off because I've been called a Stern fanboy and 90% of my games are Stern. But it's not that. It's the fact that we need to just chill out a bit. Like, the game has only just been shown. When Jaws was shown, the game crashed. When Bond was shown and Venom, the game had issues. It wasn't, people didn't like it. But now all of a sudden, Bond is the best Stern game ever made, and people are, Venom is one of the most scanned games on Insider Connect. So I think we probably were so excited 2 weeks ago that people expected it to be flawless, right? And in my opinion, it's very close to it. Like, the first 20 minutes of the stream, the guys probably, again, if you're not in the headspace to play pinball, you don't have a great time. The ball drained multiple times for a lot of them. Danger struggled to get on the board, and he's a very good player, as we've seen on his Deadflip, and know what he's capable of. So, interestingly enough, the last 15 minutes of this YouTube stream that they did was flawless. Like, the guy had a fantastic ball. Yep, the guy that looks like I can't remember the actor I'm
It
thinking
looks
of.
like Jesus. Never mind anyone. That looks like the real Jesus. Never mind the Stern Jesus.
Maybe he's Marvel Jesus. But in some instances, like I think he lost the ball once or twice, and sometimes he purposely drained the ball during a multi-ball for purpose because he needed those balls back. Now, he does, they said that there was enough explanation of the modes. Well, because there probably isn't any. It looked like there was only 2 or 3 modes. At the end of the day, this was to show us the shots and how it flowed. And if they were ready, they probably would have spoken more in detail about everything else. But the fact is, everyone was craving to see this gameplay. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think the animation, as you can see, there's movement. It's not like Avengers. Avengers is like dead still, like stiff cardboard animation. This looks like comic cells, right? And they've added the squiggly lines to show movement. It's very kind of Deadpoolish, the way Gomez did Deadpool. I don't think there's anything wrong. And keep in mind, how often do you look at that bloody screen anyway while you're playing? The only criticism, never. The only criticism I would have is that I really hope the music changes. I felt the music was a little bit elevatorish and quite monotone, so there wasn't much upbeat. But even he said that it was early days. I mean, apparently Pantera's meant to be doing some of the music, so that's definitely not what I heard today.
Hold on, can we just stop here? This guy looks like he's taking a dump. What's this guy doing at the bottom of the screen here? This is like a power fart. I think fisting, double fisting dump. But sorry, carry on. I couldn't help myself.
So, if you guys go back after watching this and go watch the last 15 minutes of the stream, I think you'll see a different stream, right? But you could see that Danger was disappointed in his body language, and I don't blame him.
I'll be disappointed. He looks like he looks like he's turned up for the wrong event. Somebody should have told him it wasn't Mario Kart. It was
the X-Men. The X-Men.
Yeah, he's like a strippogram for Luigi in Mario Kart. He looks like he's ready. He looks like he's ready to go there. Enzo, look, code is code, right? It says the dumper again. It's a bit of fun. I don't know why. I can't quite get. I'll take that out of there. I can't quite get. Look, people are angry. Generally, people are very angry, and we discussed this last time we sat down and we had a chat, and I didn't get it. I didn't know about the anger about Stern selling the pinball machine in the shop. I didn't understand that because I didn't know. You very much told me that news, and I gave you my reaction. I was shocked how angry people were about that. Look, pinball's fun. It should be fun, but there's one thing that I've really noticed in the last little while is people do seem ready to get really, really angry. Let me tell you where I am with this game. I think it looks incredible, and I think the shot layout is really, really innovative. So I'm only going to repeat what I've already said on videos already. I think we needed this. I think we needed somebody to try and take it in a different direction. I understand that there's a Gottlieb game or two that has the little playfield in the left-hand side. I understand that, right? But you also have to assume that most people don't have that game. So for a lot, and it's very, very long time ago. So for a lot of people, this is innovation, and the way the Wireforms do their stuff, it's very, very innovative. And I think he's building on what he did with Foo Fighters. None of that has changed for me. I still think that's the direction that things need to go in, because otherwise everyone's you need some sort of variation and some sort of difference to what you're doing. You have to have a reason to have one game above another, and I think he's very much doing that. I think it's incredibly exciting what he did. I think there's a bravery to it. In many respects, you talk about Venom. Venom is a plain ass layout. It really is. I know it might have some bits and pieces that swing across, but by and large, it's very, very uniform in the way that a fan layout goes. In many respects, you're probably safer as a designer doing that. There's risk. It takes risk to try something different. Where I am, and I thought it was amazing. I thought it's incredible that he's done it. I didn't pull the trigger on it, as you know. I said, I'm going to wait. And the reason I was going to wait for 2 reasons. Number one, I wasn't sure whether the code would be too complicated because I found the Avengers Infinity Quest overwhelming with the amount of characters. Yep. But most importantly, I wanted to wait to see, and I said this on a video 2 to 3 days ago, I want to see what it shoots like because it might be too difficult for me. None of those things alter what I believe to be the case with Jack Danger and his team and the pinball machine they've created, because I'm not the best pinball player in the world. Just because I can't play a game doesn't mean it's a bad machine. There are plenty of people that be able to do it. And that game you've got behind you there, John Wick, I can't play it, but I know there's plenty of people that can, and they're really enjoying it. They're leveling up and they're doing their stuff, and they're doing the things that I can't do. So I think I totally understand the excitement. I think what I don't understand is the disappointment. So I think if what you did was you went out and you rushed and you bought this game before even seeing it, then that's up to you. You take that risk. You absolutely know it. But I also here's what I think will happen. Here's my prediction. So we've seen what happens now. The game gets released. Amazing, brilliant. And I'm guilty of that. I uploaded 2 videos. One of them I said, look, this guy's gonna make Keith Elwin think, oh, I need to up my game. Competition is a good thing. All right. Competition is a good thing. But there was a few people who sort of dug out what I was saying. I put my money where my mouth is. I've still chosen to order a Jaws. That's what I chose, and I'm really, really happy with that. So I was not belittling Keith Elwin in any way, shape, or form. I think for me, Jaws is something that might be close to the perfect game in terms of modern terms. I think it's absolutely incredible. So you get all this excitement, and so you should be. It's pinball. You should be excited about it. And then you get this lull and this disappointment, which you see now, which is basically people say this is too tough. It's a drain monster. It's no good. That's what people are saying. It's no good. And there's some people saying, "Oh, I regret. I'm gonna take my whatever my thousands of pounds, and I'm gonna not get it anymore." I think, well, why were you spending that in the first place without being certain on a purchase? Here's what I think is going to happen. I think people are going to get it, and that'll be a case of, oh, this isn't as hard as I thought it was. I managed to get to level 3. Oh, I don't know what the game is. I don't know what you're meant to do in it. I managed to beat the Sentinel up 3 times. I managed to do this. I managed to do X, Y, and Z. And so that's how I think it's going to go, because now the narrative is the narrative of it. It's a tough, brutal machine, and Stern have made a mistake. That's the narrative now, and I think it just switches so quickly. And so, do you know where I am? I'm exactly where I was. I'm not going to not get excited about it, but I'm certainly not going to pull the trigger on trying to buy one before I played it. It's as simple as that, really.
Well, I'm on the other side, right? Like, I have this apparent FOMO, right? That is I struggle with this, but for me, it wasn't FOMO. For me, this is the theme I like, and the design. We all love Italian bottoms, right? Ooh. Got lemon in my eye, but that's why I ordered it. Yeah, there's only 811 whatever it was LEs, so I want to get one now. The FOMO aspect of it, and I haven't seen anyone physically write, "I'm canceling my order." I've seen people say, or I know people that are pulling. Okay. It's very easy. Yeah, it's very easy for me to go, yeah, I know someone that's bought 10 Venoms and is going to burn them and piss on the ashes. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, people are buying into that too much, right? Now, with the animation, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's acceptable, and it's only probably going to get better with code. The music, I believe it's going to get better with code, but it didn't look hard to shoot. It looked fun. It's unique. It's different. And even though there's a bit of criticism that Zombie Yeti's artwork all looks the same, if you put all his machines together, they all look similar. Yes, but that's his style. Picasso is Picasso. He's not going to start painting like Van Gogh. So, I think that's a bit naive also in a sense. But at the same time, right, what we saw hasn't changed my opinion, and I don't see how it's changed other people's. Like, Jaws crashed when it launched on screen, and they terminated the live stream instantly, right?
I didn't know. I either didn't know or I'd forgotten.
Well, yeah, unless my memory's bad. But, Microsoft, when they first launched Windows 95, it crashed in front of millions of people, right? Shit happens. They maybe started off, it was like riding a bike. They were nervous. And you got to think about the pressure, danger. And I said this before, we put him on a pedestal, but this guy's also currently got 3 games in the market. He's got Foo Fighters, X-Men, and a home edition Jurassic Park.
Yeah, but he's got a name like Danger. you got to name yourself Danger. You're gonna have to handle the pressure, right?
Yeah, but that's really cool, right?
Well, he should have gone with Jack Cautious.
Jack Cautious, but like that is unique in its sense, and how many designers can say that they've done that? Maybe 1 or 2 designers can say they've had multiple games out at once. So, look, at the end of the day, Gary Stern was quoted as saying, "Holy shit," when he played the game. That's enough for me.
Why did it drain straight down the middle?
I think his holy shit was good, not bad.
Oh, good, excellent. Look, I'm having a laugh, right? Which is the whole point, really, of the video. I look, people could think what they want. I really do. I think it looks great. Honestly, I think it looks great. Whether it's great enough for me to buy one, I don't know. I just don't know yet. We'll have to wait and see on that stuff. But it looks good, and I don't. I tease, but it's meant in the best possible way. Honestly, I think I love Foo Fighters. I really liked that Jurassic Park Home Edition. I think they got nothing to be nervous about, really. But I understand them being so. I guess in many respects, they're a new team. I mean, I guess you got to say, if you're looking at Stern, it would be maybe John Borg. I don't know. I don't know what the situation is there, but that's far worse having a game pulled than a game not looking great. I'm not sure. Like, the animations and all the rest of it can be sorted in code, and code can help make the game. I think if people are worried about the shots and they can't make the shots, then that's different. No amount of code is going to fix that. Yes, to an extent. Obviously, it did with Walking Dead but I mean, that was different. I think Walking Dead just had some geometry problems, and so there's a big rescue act there with Lyman Sheets. It's turned out it's not a game for me, as people that watch the channel know, but a lot of people will tell you that's a very, very good game now. So I guess to an extent it can rescue stuff. I have to say, whilst it was draining, and I heard people when they first. I'm always amazed at people that can look at a playfield and spot stuff, right?
Yeah.
I don't have the eye for it. I just don't. So people saying that's a big flipper gap. For is it? And I watched the stream, albeit 10 minutes. So okay, I think it is, but my perspective and everyone's perspective might be skewed because it's not a standard layout. You're used to see the flippers be sort of equidistant from the side on a playfield, not crumpled up on the right-hand side. So maybe it was an illusion. Maybe it was an optical illusion of that. I just don't know. But so maybe it was draining now. I know there's a post there. I can see that. And we've had some good news recently here, which is that Pulp Fiction is coming to the UK soon. So yeah, I've got a Pulp Fiction coming. That had the post. It's a real skill for anyone that's got a post in the middle of the flippers when you go and play that game, to try and learn to trust it. I think it's really, really great fun. I like that part of pinball, certainly. But what I really liked about this game is the drain on the right out lane, which seems to loop round. So you might think you've lost the ball, but then it might loop round and go up into that little mini danger zone. Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. And I think I don't have a dog in the fight because I've not ordered one yet. So I can just look at it as somebody. I think that's the thing. I think that's the thing that troubles me a little bit about some of the things in pinball, because I've just mentioned 2, but people are getting angry about a lot of stuff in pinball, a lot of stuff at the moment. And I think, bearing in mind I'm not invested in it, I could just look at it and sort of enjoy it for what it is, or not enjoy it. I think if I'm not enjoying it, I'm going to be benign to it. I don't understand if you haven't bought one, why it would make you angry. I think that is, and that's what I was saying with the shop. Why are you concerned which shop Stern sell a pinball machine which you don't own, or even if you don't? Why? I just don't understand. If you have nothing to do with Costco or Stern,
because everyone's an expert, mate. That's the problem, right?
But you could be an expert. But why would you not be analytical about it? Why would you be angry? Why angry?
Analytical.
That's the thing.
Yep. Diplomatic, analytical. Like, I think that we got bigger problems in the world. Like, honestly, like between Russia and Ukraine and what's going on with Israel and all that. Like, honestly, like this is a hobby that is meant to be fun, right? And there is just so much negativity towards something that doesn't need it and that doesn't really deserve it. Because in my opinion, you watch the last half an hour of this stream and definitely the last 15 minutes, it looks good to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Now, that's my opinion, right? And everyone is entitled to it. But even if I didn't like it, I'd be pretty diplomatic about it. I'm not going to rant and
I don't even think you have to be diplomatic, Enzo. I think you can just say, I don't like John Wick.
Yeah.
But I'm not angry about it. I'm just not going to get one. And if I was at your house now, I wouldn't play that one. I'd play Deadpool and I'd play Jaws. Well, that's cool, isn't it?
That's interesting. It's interesting because I love John Wick as a theme and I want to love the machine. I'm struggling a little bit because I'm not a good player and I'm really struggling to make those shots, to get up those ramps, right? Whereas I got a friend of mine that can clear 700 million points. I can't clear 30.
Yeah. Does that not make you see? This is what I had. This is what I had with Jurassic Park, and I've owned Jurassic Park twice. And there was one up on the forum, on the UK forum, really recently, and I was tempted. And if it wasn't Jaws and Pulp Fiction coming in, I might have done something about it. I found myself playing the first 20% of the game over and over and over again. I never got anywhere. And whereas like yesterday, I did a video on Attack from Mars, and I'm not always playing the same 20%. I've on a good day, it was funny. I recorded that video yesterday. Then afterwards, I got Grand Champion later on in the day. So which typically I hadn't recorded that. I managed. What did I do? I destroyed Mars, but didn't manage to rule the universe. But I did 90% of that game.
Nice.
There's a Monster Bash at the moment, which has just come up for sale on the forum as well. And I think it might be the LE. It's got the topper. It's the remake. George Gomez, classic game, one of the best pinball machines I've ever made, no doubt about it. And I feel because I have completed that twice. I've completed Monster Bash twice, and even Deadpool is behind you, so I might play Deadpool. Maybe I will beat up Sabretooth and Mystique and Juggernaut, and maybe do one of the quests. Maybe the maybe the T-Rex. Okay, and the game's over. But I still think, I didn't quite get to Sauron and Mr. Sinister and do the Megalodon. But that's enough. It gave me encouragement. It was enough encouragement. I guess my question to you is, bearing in mind you're only playing the first little section of John Wick, does that not piss you off?
It annoys me. It frustrates me and annoys me because I love the theme so much and I really want to just be good at it. But, I've just got to be better at aiming and better at it's tight, right? It's tight. Really tight. And at the end of the day, I'm not a great player. And that's partially, that's not the machine's fault. Now, for instance, certain games have been made really easy, in my opinion, Venom of the fan, because the kids can walk up to it, play it, and
they're wider shots. If you haven't seen it, Venom has quite wide shots, doesn't it?
Yeah. So, at the end of the day, I think a lot of the time people will play something and not like that game, partially because they're not having a good time on it. I know a lot of people that are getting wicked scores on John Wick and they're loving it, right? Don is one of them. A couple of the other guys in the US are loving it. But I can see where you're coming from 100%. Sometimes I get really annoyed. And I don't have a rage tilt, but I get annoyed and I walk away and then I won't play it for a few days, right?
Yeah.
So, but that's not the machine's fault. I mean, sure, it was probably designed to be more for better players, maybe. I don't know.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that it's a terrible game. I just feel that, like, at the end of the day, we got really excited 2 weeks ago. We put him on a pedestal. Certain people were disappointed by what they saw in the first 20 minutes and probably switched off the stream and didn't see the rest of it.
Sure.
Right? Go watch the last 20 minutes and then tell me that it's not a different experience. So maybe the flipper gap is wide. That's why the post is there, right? Who knows? But at the end of the day, it's a beautiful machine. It's different. It's got an Italian bottom. Is it FOMO? Sure.
Hey, what is the bottom, the danger room? Is that what it is? Is that?
Yeah, the danger room is actually a room in the X-Men's where they go and train.
No, I mean, is that what you're saying? Italian bottom? You're not.
Oh, the danger room, the Italian bottom, the traditional Italian bottom is the layout of the traditional.
Okay,
pinballs.
right.
So this is not an Italian bottom, right? Because it's obviously off-centered, everything's moved over, and it feels like a wide body game. That overview today, when you were looking over it, that playfield is packed, right? This looks like a wide body game because they've got stuff in the outlanes. They got stuff right against the edge, which probably explains why this game doesn't have expression lighting, because the ramps are going into the art blades, right? So every other game recently has had expression lighting in the art blades, and this game doesn't, because it's so jam-packed properly. But I think it's great. And look, people are allowed to have their opinion, as much as I'm allowed to be positive about it. But man, there was some negatives. Like, I'm talking like dark negative comments on Pinside.
Listen,
get a life. Honestly.
Listen, I have to say, after. Yeah, you're right. Everyone should have an opinion. But I mean, it would be fair to say that Venom, John Wick, Jaws, and maybe it all came out. They're the most recent games, right? So you have a choice, right? Now you don't have to choose John Wick. You don't have to choose Venom. So, for instance, I've chosen Jaws. I think it's that thing. And here's what I find odd about it: is that you have to like everything. You have to like everything that everybody does. It'd be like walking into a restaurant and reading six or seven things that you know, and then calling the waitress over and go, "Excuse me, I don't like the lasagna." You're not going to order it. You can order the burger. I
don't like any of these dishes on your menu.
Well, that'd be different, because the thing would be you wouldn't go into the restaurant at all. But it's that thing. I have to like all of the. I think it's bizarre, but it's But that was an eye opener. So you messaged me the other day after I'd done the video on Jack Danger, and you messaged me with regards to some of the comments that were on that video, and people were really angry, weren't they? It's fair to say, really triggered and really angry, and it was a little bit of an eye opener, and for me certainly, and I have to say, it made me really question doing Marvel themed videos again on this channel, because I had to delete so many of them, and it's I don't know what it was. It was almost, I felt it was almost like I'd blasphemed, that I'd done something really bad. It was almost as if I'd taken whatever the rarest comic is, that number one Spider-Man comic or whatever that there might be one in existence, and torn it up and wiped my ass with it. You'd have thought I'd have done that, right? Yeah. But such was the reaction. And it's been a long time, particularly on this. Particularly bear in mind, this is what I do this for a job on a far more feisty industry in terms of football. And I do YouTube. I'm used to YouTube comments. I really am. It's my bread and butter. But it was a surprise to see it on a pinball platform.
Yeah,
and it was that point. That's why we spoke. I'm really shocked how angry people are. And it was, to the point. And it was weird. And I was actually quite close to doing the top 50 and doing Deadpub. And I thought, I can't, because people were very sensitive, particularly to the Marvel thing. And I didn't say anything bad. Obviously, all I'd said was, as far as what I consider to be mainstream, whatever you think mainstream is.
Yeah.
Mainstream might be. I don't. Mainstream might be Taylor Swift. It might be The Simpsons. What's mainstream? Does a toddler, does a teen, does a parent, and does a grandparent know what it is? Basically, if you turn around to Simpsons, they say yes. And my point was, the comic version of X-Men was probably not mainstream. If you asked your nan, she'd probably say, "No, sorry, what's that, darling?" You know, people, not everyone would know. And so my point was, when's this fantastic designer will he be given a mainstream title? I think really like a Hollywood title, like a Tom Cruise's mainstream, for instance. That's all I suggested. And as I say, you'd have thought I'd have done a 2-hour rant against Stan Lee or something. And it was yes, I think it was quite an eye opener. So I think, bear in mind that was so fresh, and we discussed that the other day. I was not, and I did. I went and looked at some of the comments, as well, because they did a live stream and it is on YouTube. I went and looked on Pinside, and yeah, you're absolutely right. People are nasty, angry, hostile. Absolutely.
And I honestly think this comes back to Pinside. Pinside should be adminning better, in my opinion. Some of these comments, those people should be banned. Honestly, I know people are entitled to an opinion, but there's that, and there's that. I'm talking hate.
Yeah, it's nasty.
Nazi hate. It was just absolutely unnecessary, right? And I had a guy recently that overheard that I had a Venom, and I really enjoyed my Venom LE. And the first thing, he doesn't know me from a bar of soap. That could be my first pinball machine that I worked for a year to save up for. And he's just gone, how would you play that rubbish? It's a piece of shit game.
Yeah.
And I said, well, mate, that's your opinion. I don't think it is. And he goes, well, you don't know anything about pinball then. I was like, well, I know what your missus likes. And then I kind of ended it there.
Yeah.
But, is that necessary? It's not necessary.
No, but that's stopped being about pinball. It's about making you feel bad. And that's the internet. That really is the internet. Honestly, I've been doing it for a long time now. I could talk about that for a very, very long time indeed, which I won't do, because that's people are going to get bored of it. But look, clearly, how many pinball machines do you own?
Well, anywhere between 15 and 30, depends what I'm feeling like.
Okay, but would it be fair to say in your room that you have 20 pinball machines?
No, 16.
Right, okay. So to say you know nothing about people, it's not accurate. It's just it's just said out there to wound. It's said to draw a reaction. How can you can't say to somebody with pinball machines all around them, you don't know what a pinball machine is? Well, clearly not. So it's just one of those things.
Just a good representation of what's going on out there with this negativity. And I just think it's not called for. I don't think everything we saw was great. And nothing's changed from 2 weeks ago. And the code's early. We know that.
Yeah.
That's pinball.
Yes, absolutely. And I wouldn't tell anybody to like the game. I'm not. I'm really not. I think it is that. It's the extreme reaction. And it's I don't know. I wonder if people are hoping for, I don't know what. It's just a little bit tough. But I think if people give it time, and I'd say this with any game, you might well find that you like it more than you think. And I do wonder if this has been a reset now. So a few days ago, everyone thought it was the best game ever.
Okay.
And now people are thinking it's the most unplayable game ever. And I wonder if that's just going to reset. And when people actually play it, I think, oh, hold on.
Yeah.
I've been playing for 3-4 minutes here, and I'm still on ball 2. I've just got an extra ball. I just wonder at that point if people are going to think, okay, right, we're playing, So it's going to be nowhere as bad as some people have made out. And I think what I would say is, if I had of, it's funny you talk about FOMO, because FOMO is a funny one as well. FOMO is the fear of missing out, right? That's what FOMO is. Yeah. It's never that for me, because I don't think you are going to miss out. I think you're probably slightly different over in Australia, to be fair. I think you possibly would if you didn't, because of where you are, because of the location. I think quite possibly if you don't get in on an LE, you might miss out. I think if you don't get in on that first shipment, you probably are going to have to wait for a few months. But I think by and large, it's not FOMO. It's just excitement about a game. Not a fear of missing out. I just actually...
well, that goes higher when the theme is relatable, right?
Of course.
It's even more and more and more. And I think it's no different to when I see Monster Bash pop up on Marketplace, and I'll have a fear of missing out on it. But, a piece of me goes, oh, I'll only buy the remake because I've decided I'm not doing any old games anymore, right? So, but then I missed out. And I go, oh, man, I wish I didn't miss out.
Yeah.
It's just how it is what it is.
We all do it. I mean, we all do it. I've even done it today. Honestly today, and I've seen that Monster Bash come up. I thought, well, you know, oh, I would have liked that, but I just
thought you were referring. I thought you were referring to Avatar.
Well, yeah.
There's a segue.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to segue into that quite yet, despite what we discussed, because Avatar is a conversation for another day, certainly. Yeah. Because I think I need to see that JJP release first before making any sort.
Did you see that little? Did you see the trailer yesterday? They did.
Yeah, like again, it felt very much like a teaser one. You didn't see much, did you?
No.
So it looks like Six Flipper. The reason is, as a point we're recording this, I think the official announcement at the point we record this is out in 2 hours. So I'm just mindful if we talk about it now, whatever we're going to discuss can seem really old because everyone's going to have a really good look at it. I'll say, oh no, you got that wrong. So whatever we're going to say about Avatar is probably going to be wrong. So we'll save that. We'll save that for a different video. But yeah, I think look, going away from it, I wouldn't. I really hope that team, I mean Jack Danger's team, are not deterred, because there's no way, and I think people need to appreciate this on the internet. I really do. You can make people feel utterly crap. I mean, utterly crap on the internet. I'll be honest. I had it the other day. The other day, if you'd have caught me, there was 4 messages in particular which I had to delete. If you'd have caught me, I wouldn't. If you'd have caught me an hour afterwards, and my girlfriend would say yes, I'd have been telling you I wasn't going to do another pinball video again. You know, it was personal and it was nasty, and I think people. I would just. But by the end of it, like an hour later, I'm thinking, fuck them. Do you know what I mean? I don't like my videos. I'm gonna upload twice as many just to annoy them. So you get out, but you know, not everyone is like that. And I think if you've poured so much into doing one of these designs, I think if you're getting hate, and I think we can fair to say some of it is hate online, that can be quite demotivating if you're a design team. I think. And it doesn't really matter whether you've done the code, the animations, maybe the drawings like Zombie Yeti. If you're an artist, you don't want to hear that your drawings are shit. I mean, you really don't, and they're not. By the way, his case isn't really. Honestly, he's been told his artwork and his art designs are not up to scratch by people that can't even probably hold a pencil. It's ridiculous, actually. Yeah, I mean, I'm not for me to to comment on anything else, but I just hope that. I hope they're not deterred by it. I really hope they do. Because I am very confident that when it hits the shelves or the arcades, I really do think there will be a whole bunch of people saying this is nowhere near as brutal as it looked on that first stream. I do think that will be the case. Sorry, mate, you were going to say something.
No, I was just going to say, just to recap, I mean, look, I just think it was a combination of that stream having bad lighting. It was a little bit dark, so it probably didn't set the right mood. The team was probably tired, and they were unlucky with their first 20 minutes of balls. I mean, I just think it was just a bit.
And they had their eyes covered up.
And they had their eyes covered up. I mean, at one point, Danger actually had to take his thing off because he felt like he was going to pass out. But I think there are small variables there that can really impact something, especially when you're already nervous to going live, because you've been put on a pedestal for 2 weeks and you've been called the new Marvel Jesus or the new Pinball Jesus, that you want it all to go right. And, you know, I still think it was great. Sure, the lighting and the staging could have been a bit better, but it is what it is, you know.
I think, look, as I say, I can't see too well because of my eyes. I think the bit where you could see them in the room, I think they had another machine behind them as well. I think, I thought it looked cool. There was something written like it was pinbites, whatever. I don't know. I thought it all looked pretty cool to me. I'd certainly. I think you can be hypercritical with this stuff, and at the end of the day, we're we all love pinball, don't we? I think that's why we're all here. So, but it doesn't mean you've got to think everything is brilliant. That's not what I'm saying here. You could absolutely look at that and play it and think, it's not for me. That's not for me. That's
That's
absolutely
fair.
fine. But don't worry, there's another pinball machine that will be. But I think when you're in the realms of thinking everything that you see is crap, and you start thinking, well, they shouldn't be selling, they shouldn't be making it like that. He shouldn't be designing it. They shouldn't be selling it in this shop. This should,
All the rumors like, oh, they've got so many LEs that no one's buying, and there's stock being sent back to Stern. Like,
well, that
why?
only matters to Stern distributors, maybe. It's not. I would understand it if you were a shareholder in Stern, and in the meeting you would say, "Well, hold on a second, we've got a lot of stock coming back here." What I don't, any more than you would. What's your main supermarket there?
Oh yeah, we got like Coles, Woolworths, Aldi.
Woolworths, Aldi. It's a bit like you being annoyed because Aldi had run a promotion in barbecue coals, and it didn't work out, so they had to send a load back. Well, you wouldn't. You just wouldn't. And I just find that level of interest. It's not interest. Interest's fine. I think interest is wrong. That level of anger towards marketing and distribution. It's mental. I can't think of anything else. I used to be on camera forums. I can't. We really honestly. I've got loads of them. I've got cameras. Honestly, camera recording there. I've got cameras all over the place here. Right. Love my cameras. Can't ever remember when. And again, there'll be this sort of rivalry. So people that like Panasonic, if you like Lumix, or people like Canon, people that like Canons didn't like people that like Nikons and stuff like that, right? So you did have a bit of that, but I can't ever remember anyone getting angry because Lumix produced too many lenses, and then they had to go back. You're not gonna believe where Canon are selling their cameras. I
got angry because my Fuji didn't come with a baby.
It's fucking odd. Is all I'm saying. It really is. Anyway, so enjoy your pinball.
Funny enough,
majority of the I'm not telling you. The majority of people watching this do, and yes, I would say that. I think if you have already ordered one, I think you're probably going to still get the machine that you ordered. And I think you'll learn the shots. And I think, do you know what? Sometimes that ball's going to drain. It will, but you're often going to find it'll drain and it'll loop back up to that little danger room, and you still got the ball there and a chance to keep it alive. I was still excited about that. I still want to play that shot.
But I'm pretty sure balls drain in every other game you've got back there.
Yeah, well, yes, Dolly Parton's behind me. I can assure you, there's nothing. It won't be more brutal than Dolly Parton. There you go, boys and girls. Yeah. There's one to finish on. Irrespective of how brutal you think Uncanny X-Men may be, spare a thought for me because it's nowhere near as brutal as Dolly Parton. Enzo, cheers, mate.